Good evening. Hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination news. Newsmakers talking points Monday night. Prime Minister Modi's last speech in the 17th Lok Sabha declares Ab ki baar NDA 400 par. Is the Prime Minister's optimism justified? Also, after Ayodhya, is Gyan Vapi the next Hindu-Muslim flashpoint? Asaduddin Owaisi will be joining me later tonight. And we'll also be joined by India's latest Grammy Award winner, Shankar Mahadevan, is among my special guests tonight. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. Prime Minister Narendra Modi sets the tone for the 2024 Lok Sabha battle, guarantees BJP will win 370 seats, NDA over 400, hits out at the Congress over Parivarwad, claims the alignment of the opposition has been shaken. External Affairs Minister in an exclusive interview to India today sets the record straight on the Nijjar row with Canada, says US handled the Nijjar episode sensibly and that ties with US are not hit by it. Big FM Finance Minister Sitaraman and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary face off in Parliament. Congress claims non-BJP ruled states being discriminated against. Nirmala Sitaraman hits back, claims Congress's statement politically motivated. Supreme Court makes scathing observations on the Chandigarh mayoral polls. Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud says it's a murder of democracy. Says the poll officer should be prosecuted. The BJP had won the poll despite Congress AAP having greater numbers. Pushkar Dhami's cabinet approved the draft Uniform Civil Code bill to be tabled now on the 6th of February. Uttarakhand to become the first state to adopt the UCC. Major harmony message from Kerala. Congress ally IUML backs a Ram Mandir, says Mandir and mosque boost secularism. Left front attacks the IUML. After Delhi police took Kejriwal and Atishi over alleged poaching claims, AAP claims will reply to the notice in the next few days. When will AAP furnish evidence of poaching is now the question. Champai Soren passes the crucial Jharkhand floor test. 47 vote in favor of him, 29 against. Hemant Soren alleges witch hunt by the centre, taken back to jail after a trust vote. India win the second test against England by 106 runs to level the 5-match series 1-all. Jasprit Bumrah, player of the match for his 9 wickets.
Triumphant in 4 days. They've played wonderful cricket.
But my top story tonight is from the Lok Sabha, where in his response to the President's address, Prime Minister Modi delivered his final speech of the 17th Lok Sabha. All guns blazing against the opposition, the Congress in particular, ahead of the 2024 battle. The Prime Minister started his speech by taunting the opposition, claiming they would stay on the opposition benches for another 5 years. But a large part of his speech was spent in slamming the Congress, who he accused of Parivarwad and failing multiple times to launch one product. The Prime Minister also targeted former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Take a look at Narendra Modi on the offensive ahead of the 2024 polls.
अब हमारी सरकार का तीसरा कार्यकाल भी बहुत दूर नहीं है। ज्यादा से ज्यादा 100-125 दिन बाकी है और अब की बार पूरा देश कह रहा है, अब की बार खड़गे जी भी कह रहे हैं। लेकिन अध्यक्ष जी, मैं आमतौर पर ये आंकड़े के चक्कर में नहीं पड़ता, लेकिन मैं देख रहा हूं देश का मिजाज एनडीए को तो 400 पार करवाई के रहेगा, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी को 370 सीट अवश्य देगा। बीजेपी को 370 सीट और एनडीए को 400 पार। कांग्रेस का विश्वास हमेशा सिर्फ एक परिवार पर रहा है। एक परिवार के आगे वो न कुछ सोच सकते हैं, न कुछ देख सकते हैं। कुछ दिन पहले भानुमति का कुनबा जोड़ा लेकिन फिर एकला चलो रे करने लग गए। कांग्रेस के लोगों ने नया मोटर मैकेनिक का काम सीखा है और इसलिए अलाइनमेंट क्या होता है उसका ज्ञान तो हो गया होगा, लेकिन मैं देख रहा हूं अलायंस का ही अलाइनमेंट बिगड़ गया। इनको अपने इस कुनबे में अगर एक दूसरे पर विश्वास नहीं है तो ये लोग देश पर विश्वास कैसे करेंगे? एक ही प्रोडक्ट बार बार लॉन्च करने के चक्कर में कांग्रेस की दुकान ताला लगने की नौबत आ गई है। और ये दुकान हम नहीं कह रहे, आप लोग कह रहे हैं। आप लोग कहते हैं दुकान खोली है, सब जगह पे बोलते हैं, दुकान को ताला लगने की बात आई। जिसको जितना जुल्म मुझ पर करना है कर ले, मेरी भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ाई चलती रहेगी। जो भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप जिन पे सिद्ध हो चुके हैं, जो जेलों में समय निकाल करके पैरोल पर आए, आज वॉशिंग मशीन से भी बड़ा कंधे पे लेकर के महिमा मंडन कर रहे हैं ऐसे चोरों का सार्वजनिक जीवन में। लेकिन जो गुनाह सिद्ध हो चुका है, जो सजा काट चुके हैं, जो सजा काट रहे हैं, ऐसे लोगों का महिमा मंडन करते हो आप? कौन सा कल्चर और देश की भावी पीढ़ी को क्या प्रेरणा देना चाहते हो आप? कौन से रास्ते और ऐसी कौन सी आपकी मजबूरी है? जांच करना ये एजेंसियों का काम है। एजेंसियां स्वतंत्र होती हैं और संविधान ने उनको स्वतंत्र रखा हुआ है। और जज करने का काम न्यायाधीश का है। जज करने का काम न्यायाधीश का है और वो अपना काम कर रहे हैं। जिन्होंने देश को लूटा है उनको लौटाना पड़ेगा।
Prime Minister's strong speech, combative speech there in Parliament. What did the opposition have to say? Listen in.
It's unfortunate that 10 years and the Prime Minister still doesn't have much to talk about his own government. Even today when he opens his mouth, he attacks Nehruji, he attacks Rahul Gandhi, he attacks the Congress party. Now I don't understand how come the Prime Minister cannot show anything in his own report card and all that he has to do is attack the opposition. Why? The responsibility to attack lies with the opposition. The responsibility to question the ruling party lies with the opposition. You can't play that role. You are the Prime Minister. But in any case, if you are rehearsing to play the role of the opposition, you've done very well. Believe me, 2024 results, Mr. Prime Minister, you will sit in the opposition.
देखिए, बहुत मोदी जी के स्टैंडर्ड्स के अनुसार बहुत बुरा स्पीच था। वो बहुत थके लगते थे, कोई नई चीज़ नहीं कहा और जो भी उन्होंने कहा बहुत कई बार सुन चुके हैं। जैसे कि नामदार कामदार, नेहरू जी के देहांत होके 60 साल हो गए फिर भी यही कह रहा है कि नेहरू जी की गीत गाते ही रहते हैं कांग्रेस के खिलाफ। देखिए, आप कांग्रेस से गए 10 साल पहले, आप तो सत्ते में है 10 साल से, आप अपनी ही चीज़ वो अपनी जिम्मेदारी ले लीजिए।
So let's raise the big questions. The Prime Minister's confidence of victory in 2024 in that speech, is it justified? Will the Kamdar versus Namdar narrative play out again? Are Congress and the Nehru Gandhis the perfect enemy for Prime Minister Modi? What are really the hits and misses of Modi 2.0? Joining me now is Rahul Verma, fellow at the Centre for Policy Research. He tracks politics very closely. Ajay Alok is BJP spokesperson and Mohan Kumaramangalam is Congress spokesperson. I want to start with you, Ajay Alok, because the Prime Minister mentioned Jawaharlal Nehru's name about 14 times. Jawaharlal Nehru passed away exactly 60 years ago in 1964. Should the Prime Minister be telling us more about what he's done in the last 10 years rather than telling us what Nehru did or didn't do in the 1940s and 50s?
Well, Rajdeep, if you have analyzed the Prime Minister's speech, the speech was all about Nehru vision of India, because there's no Gandhi vision of India right now. After Nehru, it was Nehru vision of India which was followed in this country. And for the last 10 years, it is Modi vision of India. And he just made a comparison of only last 10 years, that what Nehru vision did and what I did. That was a listing of all the achievements, what we have done. What is the difference between scale, acceleration, and pace of the work what we have done?
No, but why not compare,
And
sir? Why not compare 2004 and 14 and 2014 and 24? Why go back to the 1940s and 50s? I mean, India was in a very different place.
No. 2004 to 14, 2004 to, he compared 2004 to 14 and 14 to 24. But 2004 to 14, we strongly believe that still that Nehru vision of India is continuing. That's what he said, Nehru. And why he mentioned Nehru? There were historical blunders which were committed. There were historical blunders, like in case of Somnath Temple, like in case of Ram Mandir, like in case of various other things. Where Nehru mentioned, like in case of demeaning the spirit of India, like what he said, that what kind of speech he used to deliver from the Red Fort. What's wrong in that? Why we shouldn't mention the historical blunders what this country has seen?
Okay.
Now today, on a lighter note, opposition and you, I guess you will be in a better position to make opposition stands. I understand what is actual washing machine of BJP. Today what he has done, he has acted like a washing machine for the Congress, and he has taken out all the dirt from the Congress and he has placed in front of the nation. Now when we talk of development, what he didn't mention? Like if I say airport has gone from 74 to 152, AIIMS were 8, it has gone to 122. National highway length, 25,700 kilometers to 57,700 kilometers. Unicorn, till 2014, only 1. Now it is 114. MBBS seats, 55,000 to 105,000. Medical college, 387 to 660 in just 10 years. Just imagine if this pace and if this intensity.
So you're saying the focus, okay, you're saying the focus is, okay, you made your point. Let Mohan Kumaramangalam respond. According to Ajay Alok, the speech was much more about what the Prime Minister has achieved between 2014 and 24 versus what the previous governments have achieved. The message was India is now on the fast track. India's moment has come. We are going to move towards a Viksit Bharat. So the positivity is much more than just the negativity over what the Congress's flaws are, which Ajay Alok says was a washing machine of the Congress. He was washing the dirt of the Congress.
Rajdeep ji, I'm not sure which speech he was listening to, but to me, I think the Prime Minister lost a beautiful opportunity. If he truly believes that he's going to come back with an even bigger majority, then he could have taken a role of a statesman in this speech, if you will. But he reverted to the mean. I mean, this is his usual speech. He spends most of it in hubris, patronizing the opposition, belittling his predecessors, cherry-picking quotes, and filling the rest with half-lies and, half-truths and lies.
No, give me a lie. No, when you say lie, give me a lie. I mean, give me a statement that you believe. No, 1 minute, sir. When you make a statement saying the Prime Minister lied, you need to back it up.
I will give you a lie. Let me finish. Yes, when the Prime Minister has said that India is open defecation free, his own government, the NSO, came up with a survey in 19 when he first said this from the ramparts of Red Fort, that India is nowhere near open defecation free. That is just one of the lies. The rest are half-truths. The GDP under UPA grew by 3 times, almost 3 times. Under the NDA, it has grown by a little over 2 times. We were already number 3 on a PPP basis, if you look at the overall GDP on a PPP basis back then. I mean, if we are with every progressive year, India is growing. To make such a big deal of climbing to number 3 now, in the next, let's say, decade or 5 years or so, and then using only that metric while not talking about income inequality, not even mentioning that unemployment is a problem, then talking about Make in India without pointing out the fact that their flagship Make in India scheme, which is PLIs, has not even utilized the entire fund that was allocated towards it last year. About 40,000 crores has been left unspent. The year before that, about 11,000 crores was left unspent. This is a demand-driven scheme. So clearly it's not elicit the kind of interest that it should. There are so many points that Mr. Modi brought up that can easily be challenged. But I want to focus on the fact that Mr. Modi, if he truly believes that he's coming back with a great majority, I don't think he would have spent almost his entire speech making snide remarks and repeating some of the criticisms that he's had of the opposition.
So he's making them because no, 1 minute, sir. Mr. Kumaramangalam, he's attacking the Congress on Parivarvad, on corruption equals Congress, on Parivarvad equals Gandhi's, because that's a familiar trope that has already gotten victories in 2014 and 19. And the truth of the matter is, yes, the Congress is run in a way, is dictated to by a Parivar. I mean, the Prime Minister, that's his strongest point when he says it's Namdar versus Kamdar.
Rajdeep, you may feel that way. I've been a congressman for the last 12 years or so. And I can tell you that today, for example, in Congress, the Congress president is not from one particular Parivar. Many decisions that happen in the Congress don't even reach any member of the Parivar. I know this for a fact. And we have an elected Congress president. Have they elected any of their party presidents? Why is it that again and again this particular allegation is made, but there is no basis for it? What position is Mr. Rahul Gandhi hold in the party? He is a member of parliament. That's about it.
It's not, no, 1 minute, Mr. Kumaramangalam, it's not as simple that Rahul Gandhi is just another member of parliament. When he conducts a yatra, the entire Congress follows him. But I will ask this to Rahul Verma. Rahul, you've heard two politicians with their different perspectives defending their parties. Do you get a sense that Mr. Modi has realized that he wants to make 2024 once again about Modi versus Rahul Gandhi, or dare I say, Namdar versus Kamdar, because that's the trope with which he's won 2 elections. And the Congress has not yet given a sufficient narrative to take away from the fact that they are seen as a party of Parivarvad.
Thank you, Rajdeep. Let me make 2 points. As a citizen of this country, I would have, of course, hoped the Prime Minister to give a report card of his government. What did he do right in 5 years? Where did he miss? And what the vision of the country for next 5 years and 15 years going to be. But as an analyst, I know what Prime Minister was trying to do. He is seeing that in last couple of weeks, the opposition unity is exploding and he needs to hit the final nail on the head. And that is what he was trying to do. He has seen that many parties within the opposition alliance seems to be very, very uncomfortable with the Congress party and the way it has been trying to run the opposition campaign. And he's sort of like creating further, through his speech, for creating further divisions within the ranks of the opposition, and also trying to signal first to non-Congress opposition parties that if you stick with the Congress party, then you are going to have troubles in the poll. So he's trying to do that. And second, he knows that some of the planks on which BJP is going to campaign, basically India's image in the global stage and India, rising India, that campaign is already in the motion. So yes, he was using some of the familiar tropes, but it's basically in some ways the attack of BJP on the opposition is going to be on the charges of corruption, nepotism and dynasticism. And he'll keep reminding voters on that thing.
I'm going to play another chunk of what the Prime Minister said, because as I said, this is the familiar trope. Attack the Congress in particular over alleged corruption and dynasticism, because that is what has worked, the BJP believes, in 2014 and 19. The Prime Minister, interestingly, stayed away from targeting the regional parties, some of whom may be, who knows, future allies of the BJP. But listen in to what the Prime Minister has to say about what I believe is his core election plank for 2024. Listen in to Prime Minister Modi.
जिसको जितना जुल्म मुझ पर करना है कर ले, मेरी भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ाई चलती रहेगी। जो भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप जिन पे सिद्ध हो चुके हैं, जो जेलों में समय निकाल करके पैरोल पर आए, आज वॉशिंग मशीन से भी बड़ा कंधे पे लेकर के महिमा मंडन कर रहे हैं ऐसे चोरों का सार्वजनिक जीवन में। लेकिन जो गुनाह सिद्ध हो चुका है, जो सजा काट चुके हैं, जो सजा काट रहे हैं, ऐसे लोगों का महिमा मंडन करते हो आप। लाल किले से भारत के प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री ने जो कहा था वो पढ़ रहा हूं, नेहरू जी ने। उन्होंने कहा था, हिंदुस्तान में काफी मेहनत करने की आदत आम तौर से नहीं है। ये न समझिए कि वह कौमें कोई जादू से खुशहाल हो गई, वो मेहनत से हुई है और अक्ल से हुई है। ये उनको सर्टिफिकेट दे रहे हैं, भारत के लोगों को नीचा दिखा रहे हैं। यानी नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के प्रति सोच थी कि भारतीय आलसी है। नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के लिए सोच थी कि भारतीय कम अक्ल के लोग होते हैं।
So that was the jibe on Nehru, but as you saw, his main focus remains on corruption and Parivarvad, which he believes has in a way finished the Congress party or eaten up the Congress party. You know, Ajay Alok, should this not have been an occasion to focus purely on your report card? What do you stand for? What is the Prime Minister's government? What are the singular achievements? This constant denigration of the opposition is only widening the polarization. This is classic polarization by a populist leader who claims to stand for the people against the so-called elite. The Congress is over. Forget the Congress. We want to know, what does the Prime Minister stand for? What, according to you, are his three major hits?
No, the three major hits is definitely our achievements, which he narrated one by one, comparing with the last 4 to 14 years data. Now, secondly, if the country is facing the biggest problem of nepotism and dynastism, why should the Prime Minister speak about it? And what led that our country could not achieve in last 55 years was the main cause, the root causes, nepotism and dynastism. That's what Prime Minister was highlighting. Now, my Congress friend was telling about economy something, GDP or something like. My dear friend, you left the GDP at 1.8 trillion, we took it to 3.8 trillion. And today when you say that we reached from 11th to 5th position, वो तो अपने आप पहुंच जाता है. The situation was such like that कि अपने आप हम लोग पहुंच गए. और जादू की छड़ी थी, you know, so something went wrong and we climbed from 11th to 5th. When Prime Minister mentioned that in 2014 interim speech, your Finance Minister said that looking at the size and the enormity of the population of India, and today when we are in 11th position, we take pride. And in the next 30 years, we are going to be number 3 economy. You took 30 years for taking us to number 3. The Prime Minister is taking only 3rd term. This is the difference. Okay. When I say that today the exports have risen from $200 billion to $750 billion, ऐसे ही हो गया. FDI has gone from 22 billion to 46 billion dollars. ऐसे ही हो गया, अपने आप हो जाता है, तो country अपने आप चल रहा है भाई. Foreign exchange reserve from 285 billion to 603 billion dollars. हो जाता है, country runs like that. No achievement of government.
Okay, I want Mohan Kumaramangalam to respond to your point. Okay,
there is no effort, you know, there is no effort.
Mohan Kumaramangalam, like it or not, the Prime Minister seems open to a debate between what happened between 2004 and 14 and 2014 to 24. Is the Congress ready for that debate? You're saying he's not discussing a report card. He's saying, I'm ready.
Rajdeep, if he's ready, then I'm sure any congressman anywhere would be willing to debate the Prime Minister on economic performance. Without a doubt. Throwing absolute numbers that, you know, with one data point in 2014 and one data point in 2024 shows how insecure they are about their real numbers. Every number is to be seen as a percentage of the base, which is GDP. For example, exports I'll give you. On average, 24% of GDP is what our exports were in UPA. It is almost slightly less than 20% in NDA. MPA. So every number should be seen as a percentage, not in absolute terms. In absolute terms, the number grows every year. They know that very well, which is why they'll just cherry pick one number in 14 and one in 24 and pretend like they've actually changed the world dramatically. Please, I mean, this is childish. And you know, as far as what Mr. Modi said when he quoted Mr. Nehru, it is ridiculous. There is nobody I can think of in our history of our post-independence country who has had more faith in our human capacity, which is why he invested in institutions to build our human capacity. The AIIMS, ISRO, IITs, you name it, all of these were about building human capacity. They weren't PLIs handed out as subsidies to some third party to try and get some manufacturing, which is basically assembling. He was investing long term in building out our human capacity, something that we are not doing today.
Okay.
We're spending less than 2% in health. We're spending insufficiently on education. So let's not talk about these comparisons. It's ridiculous to him.
As I said, I do believe that you cannot compare the 40s and 50s and the nation builders of those days with the 21st century, and I believe there should be minimum respect that you must show to those who helped build this country. But that's a separate debate, Nehru versus Modi. A final word, Rahul Verma. The big ticket seems to be that this is a confident Prime Minister who believes he's secure in a third, to get a hat-trick, and therefore was making what some will say is an election speech, saying, "Main fir aunga."
That's true. Rajdeep, Prime Minister, is a 24/7 campaigner. Most of his speeches have an election element in them. And he's one of those orators who does not speak to just one constituency at one point of time. He has this ability to reach out to multiple constituencies at a single point of time. And that's his strength as an orator. And he was trying to do that today. While not using the term Congress Mukt Bharat, in some ways, Prime Minister Modi knows as long as Congress remains as a national party, there is a possibility of national challenge to the BJP. And by basically tarnishing or attacking Congress party's legacy, right or wrong, positive or negative, what Prime Minister is trying to do for the BJP, that there is no national challenger left. And once you don't have a national challenger left, it gives the dominant party a much more edge to come back to power nationally. This is what Congress party enjoyed between 1950s and 1980s.
Okay, so Mr. Modi, in a sense, hoping that the BJP is now in that same dominant position of Indian politics. Remember, we have a Mood of the Nation survey later this week, so a lot of the numbers will come out there. But for now, Rahul Verma, Ajay Alok and Mohan Kumar Mangalam, thank you very much for joining me here on our top talking point. I want to turn to the latest from there on the Gyan Vapi case. Remember, the Supreme Court today adjourned a hearing on a plea filed by the Hindu side seeking an archaeological survey of the Vazu Khana, which they claim is a shivling. The Muslim side has claimed it is not a shivling but a fountain, and this debate, in a sense, could now be heard in the courts, in the Supreme Court, in the coming days. Meanwhile, the Allahabad High Court is also going to hear a plea tomorrow against the district court order permitting puja in the cellar. The Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Trust head Govind Dev Giri Maharaj, meanwhile, said the Hindu community does not seek any other places for worship once Mathura and Kashi are given back. Now, all of this is leading to the question, how will the Muslim side respond in court and outside? I spoke to the MIM leader, Asaduddin Owaisi. Listen in. Hello and welcome to this India Today special, where my guest today is the AIMIM MP and Chief, Asaduddin Owaisi. Appreciate your joining us here, Mr. Owaisi. I want to start today with what Govind Dev Giri Maharaj, the treasurer of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Trust, has said. He has said the country's future should be good, and if we get these three temples, Ayodhya, Gyan Vapi and Krishna Janmabhoomi, peacefully, we will forget about all other things. We will not look at any other temples if these three are freed. Your response?
No, that's an open threat. That's an open threat that if you don't agree to our threats or blackmail, then we will do what we have done on 6th of December. This is a call to violence. This is an open threat to the Muslim community. which is being made. This is I would call it a complete threat, so that the Muslims fall in line.
Now, how do you see it as a threat? He's saying that we want to settle these peacefully. If the Muslims hand over these 3 places of worship, there will be no more issues again raised of temples and mosques.
First of all, these people lie through their teeth. They are perpetual liars. What did they went and told the Supreme Court that we will not touch the Babri Masjid? They went and demolished it. When the Babri Masjid decision came, everyone said that okay, it's over, finish. So the fact of the matter is that this will not end. And I have been saying this consistently since the judgment of the Supreme Court, which was unfortunately given on the basis of faith, which opened what I call floodgates for all these things to be controversies to come up. Now, who is he to tell us to give it to you? Why did we pass a 1991 Place of Worship Act in the Parliament, which is still a law? So this is nothing but this is just a threat to everyone that this is what we want, you should give it to us. See, this is a crass example of Hindutva and majoritarian politics.
No, you're saying it's an example of Hindutva and majoritarian politics, but let's look at the law. At the end of the day, you just mentioned the 1991 Place of Worship Act. We've seen on the 31st of January, a district court in Allahabad, in district court in Varanasi, allowing prayers to take place in the southern cellar of the Gyanvapi Mosque. And the ASI report, which has now come out, suggests that there was a Hindu structure that exists beneath the present mosque. So the prayers are being allowed. Effectively, the prayers have now been allowed in the southern cellar of the mosque. So where does the Place of Worship Act stand? Let's look at very clearly the law itself. Effectively, now the floodgates have already been opened again.
Yes, so that is why I have said the Babri Masjid title suit judgment was responsible for opening up all these floodgates. Number one. Number two is that have you read the 31st of January's order?
Yes.
So the Honorable Judge was retiring on that day. He is no more a judge now. He gives what Rajdeep Sardesai had said, what Asaduddin Owaisi has said. And then in the last he says, I am of the opinion that the puja should be allowed, without even giving any legal reasoning for it. It is a completely wrong order. He should have stuck to the 1991 Place of Worship Act. He should have told that how is it that is allowing this after 1993. And then thirdly, please tell us that can worship be done? A puja can be done in a Taikhana?
Sir, the question is, you are going back to the 1991 Places of Worship Act,
yes,
which effectively says, except for the disputed site at Ayodhya, there will be the status quo maintained on all places of worship.
Yes.
Subsequent to that, you have a Supreme Court observation in May 2022, which says finding the nature of the religious place is not barred under the 1991 law. This is a Supreme Court order. Based on that, the Gyanvapi Mosque issue is taken forward. Now you've got a district court order. Are you willing to accept the rule of law? You can challenge the district court order in the Allahabad High Court, in the Supreme Court. But as of today, prayers are being allowed. Puja, Aarti is being allowed.
That is a wrong order.
Which is the wrong order? Varanasi or the Supreme Court order?
The 31st order is the wrong order. And please understand, you talked about the ASI report. Now, in Babri Masjid, an excavation was done. Here a survey is done, right? There's a difference between excavation and survey. Now the excavation report was not accepted by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court categorically stated that no temple was demolished to construct a masjid over there in Ayodhya. Here also, you are saying a survey has been done. A survey is different from an excavation. So we have categorically stated that no religious structure was demolished to construct a Gyanvapi masjid over there. Now report is there, we'll challenge that report. No, as far as the Supreme Court quotation you have said,
yes,
please understand it was the 5 judges bench, which included the present CGI,
yes,
which said that the 1991 Place of Worship Act is elevated to the status of basic structure of our constitution. The most unfortunate part is the lower courts and the judiciary are not accepting what the Supreme Court has said.
No, so are you prepared, therefore, for yet another prolonged legal fight on the Gyanvapi Mosque, or are you willing to maybe consider the possibility of some kind of a settlement that is reached?
Rajdeep, I remember doing this interview with you after the judgment had come, before the judgment of Ram Mandir had come. You said, are you willing to give away Ram Mandir and forget about everything? Now, this is the second time you're saying this to me. So I am of the opinion, I'm telling you categorically, this will not end, this will not stop. We will fight it legally and we will show the courts what documents, what title suits we have, what possession we have. And please understand, in Gyanvapi, we have been offering namaz. The earlier argument in Babri Masjid was, oh, you are not praying over there. Here we are praying continuously. Now, since 1993, no puja was done. Now, people are telling you and me, oh, no, your namaz is going on. Boss, how is it possible, please tell me, that I enter your house? I said, yeah, you can have 5 rooms, 2 rooms I'll use. What is that?
If inscriptions, if evidence is found that a Hindu structure exists below where the mosque exists, will you accept that or not?
If tomorrow we start digging Rashtrapati Bhavan, we are bound to find something. So, are you going to say,
Mr. Owaisi, you are making an ODS comparison?
No, I am not. I am telling you seriously. I am telling you seriously. Now you will find anything down there, and you'll say, okay, this is this. How is it possible? How is it possible? I am doing my namaz over there from years and years and years, hundreds of years. And please tell me, it was Mr. Narendra Modi who constructed this massive corridor, who constructed this massive Kashi Mandir.
Kashi Vishwanath
corridor. And in fact, he renovated the Mandir as well. Now you have people over here who come and say this.
My point, Mr. Owaisi, is do you therefore believe that there is no space for reconciliation on these contentious issues? I say this because interestingly the IUML, the Indian Union Muslim League President, Mr. Thangal said yesterday only, there is no need to protest against Ram Mandir as both the new temple and the proposed mosque represent secularism and would strengthen secularism in the country. So there is one view now emerging that many of these issues can be settled amicably.
You are twisting what Thangal has said. That Thangal spoke about Ram Mandir.
Yes.
The Thangal has not spoken about Gyanvapi or Mathura. And I am not sitting here as a spokesperson of Thangal. The IUML people are qualified enough to say what he had said and to explain. But as far as I am concerned, we are not going to give any masjid. Enough. We will not give, and understand.
We will not give any masjid as per the law of the land, as per place of worship 1991, which, Mr. Owaisi, I can tell you, the new government, if it comes to power in the next parliament, can all change the law.
We will fight in courts of law. If the other side wants to do a 6th of December, we will see what happens. But we have been deceived once, we will not be deceived again. Simple as that.
So basically what you are saying is, as far as you are concerned, you have faith in the rule of law, you have faith in the courts, you disapprove of the order passed by the Varanasi District Court, which you believe is ultra vires the Places of Worship Act, but you remain adamant that no masjid will be given through any process of any kind of settlement.
My request is that Article 32 due process should be followed. Simple as that. I have said this in Parliament, I am reiterating it over here, that as far as Muslims are concerned, we have no confidence left in our Prime Minister. Because the Prime Minister is discharging his constitutional duty only for one particular ideology, one particular system, and that is what we are saying. We want the due process to be followed. Why isn't this ruling party talking about 1991 Places of Worship Act? It is an act which is passed by the parliament, which is still a law. You have a ruling party who never utters a single word.
The fact, Mr. Owaisi, is that perhaps the present BJP does not accept the Places of Worship Act as it stands today and would like that act to be amended.
No.
But what my point, Mr. Owaisi, is quite simply, just a minute.
I want to stop you here, please. You might not like it, but it is an act which has been passed by the parliament. The executive is duty bound to accept the law.
Yes, the fact though also, Mr. Owaisi, though, is if extreme hardline positions are taken, you're heading for another confrontation and you're again ensuring only religious polarization.
not
One
at all.
minute, there is
No,
a view
no,
that
no,
only
no,
two,
no.
there is a view that both Mr. Owaisi and the BJP would like this religious polarization ahead of the elections, want these issues to keep bubbling, whether it's Gyanvapi one day, whether it's Krishna Janmabhoomi the other, whether it was Ayodhya earlier, because it suits your politics.
No, you want a gun to be pointed at my head and telling me that you surrender. Give it. Who's doing this?
I'm not saying surrender, I'm talking about reconciliation.
No, it's not that is a very good word to not to use surrender or reconciliation. What reconciliation? I have been using that masjid for more than 400 years, doing my namaz over there. And just because someone says, oh, it is not yours, should I give it to them? Who's asking confrontation? You talk about confrontation. What about Mathura? Do you know in Mathura, an historic agreement was signed between the Muslim and the Hindu side. The Muslims gave away 8 acres of land in 1965, 66. A court-monitored agreement. And you know who signed on that agreement? Madan Mohan Malviya signed on that agreement. And you still open it up into 2023. 8 acres of land, Muslim land, was given to the Hindu side. From 1960s onwards, everything was peaceful. Who's opening it? Who's asking for what you say, confrontation? Who's pointing a gun at my head and saying, oh, give it up? What is this? You know, it is going on peacefully. And now you come and say, oh, no, we believe. Do you want to run this country on your belief or on the constitution? And how is it that your belief is more important than my belief or your belief or even people who don't believe in any God? That is not possible.
Can I though ask you, as we are ending this Lok Sabha session and going into another Lok Sabha election, do you fear or do you see religious polarization only widening in the next few months? Given what we've heard over the battles now taking place over Gyanvapi, possibly over Krishna Janmabhoomi, the kind of statements being made, do you fear that the genie is out of the bottle and over the next few months there will be more instances of religious polarization?
This is happening more from 2014 onwards.
Will it get worse?
No. Will it get worse? Maybe, yes. Starting from Akhlaq, the Prime Minister has become the Prime Priest. He is the Prime Priest now. The Prime Minister is, January 22nd, the BJP calls historic day, but that historic day foundation was laid on 6th of December. That historic day foundation was laid by Mr. Nair, who was the then DM of Faizabad, who later on became the MP of Jansangh, who allowed Babri Masjid to be closed, puja to be allowed.
You don't accept that January 22nd is the first step towards correcting certain historical grievances that have existed and thereby represent, in a way, a coming to terms with the
What
past?
historic grievances were there? No mandir was demolished. No mandir was demolished where Babri Masjid stood.
That's your view.
No. It is Supreme Court who said this, not yours or mine. It is the Supreme Court who said this. They discarded the report of ASI. They talked about non-retrogression. Where do you want to... You talk about 500 years. What about when the Jains were ruling India? What about when Buddhism was the main religion of that India, say 3,000 years ago? What about Shaivism? We got independence on 15th August 1947, period. Baba Sahib Ambedkar gave us a constitution which said everyone is equal. Equality is a fundamental right. He talked about liberty, equality, fraternity, justice. You want to go back 2,000 years ago?
So effectively you're saying, as I conclude, that the Places of Worship Act 1991 is your mantra. You believe it's a basic structure of the Constitution, as the Supreme Court has said, and therefore any demands or any legal battles will be fought within the realm of that Places of Worship Act, whether it's Kashi, whether it's Mathura tomorrow. Am I correct?
I am of the opinion that Mr. Modi wants 1990 period to be repeated in India. Mr. Modi and his party wants India of 1990 in 2024 onwards.
Mr. Modi is speaking of a Viksit Bharat.
What Viksit Bharat he's talking about?
He's speaking about Amrit Kal in 2047.
Well, see, these are all very good things to be said. But actually on the ground, what is happening? A 600-year-old masjid in Mehroli, without any legal notice, was demolished. 600-year-old masjid, where there was no such controversy was there. 600-year-old masjid was just demolished for no reason whatsoever. What kind of Viksit Bharat are we talking about? What kind of Viksit Bharat are we talking about, you see? Hate speeches are being day in, day out. You don't take an action. The Supreme Court had to intervene and say, book an FIR. You know, there's a video out in Gujarat wherein 5 people stand up and say, we'll cut the tongue of Asaduddin Owaisi. Those buggers were not Maulana Salman Azhari, so they were not arrested.
But you're very clear, whether it's a Muslim cleric or anyone from the Hindu side, anyone who resorts to hate speech must be put behind bars.
Rule of the law should prevail, but unfortunately, wherever BJP finds it convenient, they talk about hate speech. BJP turns a blind eye, they become deaf and dumb when someone says this thing from there who holds or who believes in the ideology. BJP doesn't do anything to them. Look at them, they're roaming around freely. Is anyone touching them?
Let me leave it there, Asaduddin Owaisi. You made your point of view clear. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Asaduddin Owaisi giving us his view on Gyanvapi and more. Thanks for watching. Now, one of the issues that Asaduddin Owaisi has raised is that of the manner in which the Delhi Development Authority last week demolished a centuries-old mosque, Masjid Akhundji, in the Mehroli area of the national capital. Today, the Delhi High Court directed the DDA to maintain the status quo on the land. It's our Get Real India story.
हमारे बच्चों को लाने दो, ये हमारी किताब है, कुछ नहीं लाने दिया अभी तक.
The bulldozers came on January 30th. Under the cloak of dense fog, according to locals, accompanied by a large contingent of police. The demolition team sent by the Delhi Development Authority razed the Akhundji Masjid in Mehroli to the ground. The DDA claims the mosque was an encroachment on public land. In this case, the Sanjay won.
ये हमारी बहुत पुरानी जो जब
Locals claim the mosque is centuries old.
तो एक सर्वे हुआ था, उसके दौरान हर शुक्रवार को अब भी बाकायदा उसमें नमाज लगभग 60 साल से तो मैं पढ़ता हुआ आ रहा हूँ. मेरा परिवार पढ़ता हुआ आया.
ये बहुत पुराने कागज हैं, तकरीबन 1990 की ये सील लगी हुई है इसके ऊपर. आप इस पे फोकस डालें. और उसमें जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने हमारे को ये दिया था कि भाई आपकी जो भी चीजें हैं यहाँ कब्रें और मस्जिद और कब्रिस्तान, इसको कोई हटा नहीं सकता.
The Muslim community is questioning the manner in which the demolition was carried out.
मेरे पापा वहाँ पर थे और मेरे पापा ने खुद देखा, क्योंकि वो नमाज के लिए गए थे. कब्रों पे जैसे बुलडोजर चलाया जा रहा था, हमारे बुजुर्गाने दिन की जो कब्रें हैं उनको निस्तो नाबूद कर दिया गया. और मीडिया को तो अंदर जाने ही नहीं दे रहे ना कि वो करे तो क्या करे. रात के अंधेरे में जो काम होता है वो गलत होता है. सुबह का कोई इंतजार नहीं, कोई ऑफिसर नहीं आया, कोई लॉ एंड ऑर्डर नहीं, किसी को कुछ नहीं, कोई दिखाया नहीं कि अपने पेपर दिखाओ. तब हमारे पेपर दिखते तब बुलडोजर फरते ना.
ये रातों रात जो है इस तरीके की एक्टिविटी हुई जैसे कोई क्रिमिनल आगे अपने मनमानी करता है बल के साथ. और हमें वहां तक जाने भी नहीं दिया और ना हमें कोई ये इन्फॉर्मेशन दी गई, जबकि हम यहाँ के जिम्मेदार हैं हर तरीके से कि भाई आप जो है इसमें से अपना सामान या कुछ करो. कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं, कोई नोटिस नहीं, और आके जो है उसको डेमोलेट कर दिया.
According to those who managed the mosque, many orphans were getting education in the madrasa that was also demolished.
वैसी जानवर हमला करता है ना किसी पे, वैसे इन्होंने हम पे हमला किया है. छोटे छोटे मासूम बच्चों को उनके रिहाफ से, रजाइयों से निकाल के बाहर खड़ा कर दिया गया. ना उनका खाने का इंतजाम किया गया, ना उनका बैठने का इंतजाम किया गया. जो उनके साथ मदरस थे, हमारे जो पढ़ाने वाले इमाम थे या उस्ताद थे, उनको निकाल के इस बैरिकेड के बाहर कर दिया गया.
हम 1st to 9th उन बच्चों को पढ़ाते थे बहुत ही शॉर्ट और इफेक्टिव पैटर्न पर. उसके बाद हम उन्हें NIOS के लिए भेजते थे. 10th and 12th उनकी वहां से होती थी. बच्चों की पढ़ाई ऐसे अफेक्टेड हुई है कि पहली बात तो कि जो बच्चों की कॉपी किताबें थी वो निकालने का मौका नहीं मिला उनको बाहर. उन्होंने इतना भी टाइम नहीं दिया बच्चों को कि अपनी जैकेट्स, अपने स्वेटर्स और अपनी चप्पल पहन लेते.
हुजूर ने बाहर देखा तो पता चला पुलिस है. पुलिस ने जितना जल्दी हो सके उतनी जल्दी बोला कि जल्दी से निकलो. हमें सारा सामान ने उठाने दिया और जल्दी से बुलडोजर चला दिया. हमें भागना पड़ा जल्दी से. हमारी सारी उधर किताबें उधर ही रह गई, दब गई सारी, कुछ भी लेके नहीं आ पाए हम।
The Delhi High Court on Monday directed the DTA to maintain status quo on the land. With Anmol Bali, Bureau Report, India Today.
Get real India. Okay, up next is our good news today story. Fusion band Shakti with the likes of Shankar Mahadevan and Zakir Hussain has won a Grammy for the best global music album. We'll tell you more on the other side.
And India, we are proud of you, India! Last but not the least, this award is dedicated.
Pure Wash Electronic Seat by Kohler. Wish everything was this intelligent.
Get ready for an immersive journey into the heart of news, politics, and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Scan the QR code.
Sveda by Kohler. Wish everything cared for your skin.
Get ready for an immersive journey into the heart of news, politics, and insights that matter. Join India Today now on WhatsApp. Scan the QR code.
Colors by Kohler. Makes you wish everything was as vibrant.
Welcome back to our good news today story. The fusion band Shakti won the Grammy for the best global music album on Monday. Tabla maestro Zakir Hussain and singer Shankar Mahadevan are members of the band that was formed years ago by guitarist John McLaughlin, percussionist V. Selva Ganesh, violinist Ganesh Rajgopalan are also part of the band. Zakir Hussain also secured the best global music performance Grammy for his contribution to Pashto alongside Rakesh Chaurasia. Listen in to that special day.
And the Grammy goes to, as we speak, Bella Fleck, Zakir Hussain, Edgar Meyer, featuring Rakesh Chaurasia.
Music industry's biggest night concluded on a high note as India woke up to good news of winning big at the 66th Grammy Awards.
We got a Grammy winner on our hands, Shakti, Best Global Music Album. Best Global Album. Shakti is the best band in the world. I believe it.
In a triumphant return, the fusion band